Welcome into Scousers Abroad. I'm Jack. That's Ta. We are fully abroad now. Ta is back in Thailand. I'm still in America. Ta, it's a sad moment that we're now virtual, but it's great to talk to you as always, my friend.
Great seeing you again, Jack. We are actually over 8,000 miles apart. If you're a kilometers type of person, then over 13,000 kilometers. I mean, it's insane what has happened in the past few weeks. And after graduation, I'm just back chilling here for a bit in Thailand. But hey, the show must go on, and I'm glad to be contributing to the LFC Transfer Room channel yet again.
Yeah, the show, it has to go on. And Ta, you make up half the distance. You start walking tomorrow. I'll start walking. Maybe we'll be back together to watch the Champions League final. 4,000 miles. What is that? 6,500 kilometers.
Yeah, we could actually both fly to Paris. Might be easier that way, Jack.
That was like when we qualified, I was like, Pops, Paris. He was like, no. Just no. It would have been a fun trip. I'm not making the cross-country trip. A few people from the transfer room, I think Matty might be trying to make the trip. So, I mean, if anybody lets in the comments, if you're trying to make it out to Paris, and even if you're not going to watch the match there, to just be in the city for when it happens, that would be a very, very exciting thing. And there's obviously the trophy parade the day after. We'll have the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. We would love for 2 more trophies, but we'll discuss a little bit more on if we expect there to be more trophies. Let's talk about, it's going to be a shorter show today, just some Premier League talk from last match against Southampton. Looking forward to the match on the weekend against Wolves. It was a nervy one against Southampton. Nathan Redmond, it felt like the first touches in the half for Southampton. Lasers one, a slight deflection off of James Milner, but they take the lead. In that moment, how nervous are you that maybe City are winning the title on our match day?
I was a bit more sleepy than nervous, Jack, because the game kicked off at around close to 2 a.m. my time in Thailand. So yeah, I was just trying to stay awake for that first half. But after Nathan Redmond bent one over into the far post, I was a bit more nervous than sleepy. I guess that woke me up a bit because going into the game, 9 changes from 11 compared to that FA Cup final. The likes of Joe Gomez came in at right back. Costas, the Scouser Greek or Greek Scouser, whichever one you want to call him, got a run at left back as well. And we saw an all-English midfield. How rare is that in Liverpool's side? Takumi Minamino got only his second start up top, and he didn't disappoint. I think he was the one who settled the nerves for me because he smashed one in less than 20 minutes after we conceded. So that sort of cooled things off. And heading into the second half, I was very confident that Liverpool would go and snatch a win at St. Mary's. We were the better side. You look at the amount of passes, the possession, the chances created, just a dominant display from a B team. So in the end, after a bit of a nervy 15, 20-minute start to the match, I think the Reds just exerted their dominance. And, hey, we fight to the last day, don't we?
Exactly. Pushes it to the last day, puts a lot of pressure on City, who had dropped points in the match prior against West Ham. Jared Bowen getting a brace, maybe a future Liverpool player there. It's the Southampton match was a nice refresher for me because I took a lot of storylines from that. I thought there was a lot of interesting takeaways versus the dozen matches prior were very much chop and change, get the results down, very much what we had seen all year long. That one was interesting. There was 3 things that stood out to me, maybe even more as we continue the discussion. It was Minamino, the guy you mentioned, who calmed the nerves with a great finish. He has 10 goals now this season in all competitions. Just a phenomenal year for him. I'll start with him before I bring up the other 2. He was probably the biggest determinant in winning the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. It's a Takumi Minamino season out of 10. For him, Ta, what do you give him out of 10?
Can I give him 11, Jack? Is it only out of 10? No, look, for me, I think he has delivered every single time he's been called upon. You look at what he did last season, got the only league start, scored against Palace. This season, only league start, scores and levels things up against Southampton away, the club that he went on loan to last season or the second half of last campaign. And I think Minamino should be considered as one of the most underrated players to ever play at Liverpool. He's a top scorer in this year's Carabao Cup and also the FA Cup, both competitions that Liverpool went on to win and lift in the end. And every time he's been called upon, I think he's delivered. He's the 5th highest goal scorer this season in the team. Look at the amount of games that he's played compared to the 4 ahead of him. It's half, maybe a third. So look, he's an unsung hero. I think that he should be considered up there with Divock Origi in terms of not just cult heroes, but club legends in Liverpool go on to win 2 more trophies, because having a player like him alleviates and allows players to rest and recover in games that you might call doesn't really matter. So it's great to have a role player like that when your season really has to go down to the wire.
He accepted not a lot of minutes, or he accepted not being given a lot of minutes and still was able to perform, which is one of the most remarkable attributes. You mentioned Divock Origi, a guy who, I think Minamino has had a better baseline level of performance. Origi's had his Origi moments. But I agree with you. You didn't expect Mo Salah performances or Mo Salah numbers from Minamino because you didn't give him the minutes. You didn't give him that role. He, I think, has a very fascinating summer. He was given a £17 million price tag by Liverpool. For Utah, I wanted him to stay, especially if or with Origi leaving, if you're not looking at a big name forward, who are you going to bring in that could be a better contributor off of the bench? The only determinant that I think would be out of our hands would be, does he want to play more? What do you see as his future?
I think if there's a right offer at a high price tag, let's say mid 20 million pounds or something like that, Klopp allowing him to go to Southampton for half a season last year hinted that, hey, maybe he's not in the game plan anymore. Origi's going to leave, and if he leaves as well, might free up some space for Carvalho, who's coming in. And potentially, if we do go sign your boy Bowen or maybe somebody else in the Premier League or from Bundesliga and Gunku, maybe anyone, you know what I mean, then it might be time for both Origi and Minamino, but especially Minamino to leave, because Minamino has been so patient. He's joined since halfway through the 1920 campaign, and he's not been given many opportunities to shine. If he sees his career just being like this, coming off the bench, playing maybe 1 out of every 5-6 games that Liverpool go out and play in, then he'll accept his role there. But if he wants to be a star, he wants to be the main catalyst for Japan. Look, Son Heung-min is the main guy for South Korea and Asia. Another key figure is Minamino. If he wants to be that figure matching Son's level, he has to go out, play somewhere that he starts week in, week out. So it's really up to him and where he sees himself in his football career going forward.
Yeah. I think what's so interesting about him is he kind of plays off to the right, but a much more central role, where I think I've loved him, Firmino, and Jota up front. Their link-up play, their ability to kind of play in incredibly tight spaces up top was such a contrast. We didn't see that. We don't see that with Salah, with Mane, with Diaz. Those guys get wide. They try and get one-on-one with defenders. It's such a different change of pace. I'm not sure I think if he was in a system which had a tight front three capable of like playing with a lot of interchange there, he could be a really, really good player for a pretty decent side. And I agree with you. I hope he stays with us because he's a great option off the bench, and he's got potential, but he's a very interesting option. 2 other things I wanted to hit on was Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott. I thought they had very interesting performances. I want to get your take on their performances in specific. I'll kind of give my assessment. I thought they both looked very strong. I thought Curtis Jones showed real promise at being an incredible – he's just a great metronome in the midfield. Very capable on the ball, progressed it very well, was able to – there was one moment where he kind of took it back to a defender, spun him, beat 2 guys off the dribble, and took it forward. And I'm thinking, whoa, I'm off my seat. Great move. And then he kind of just stalls and plays a sideways pass. I was like, all right, final third, still can be improved. I thought they were very interesting performances. I wanted to know your take on the 2 Englishmen in the midfield and their performances.
Yeah, while you were saying that, I just looked at the ages to confirm, my stats for both players. 21 and 19. Curtis Jones 21 and Harvey Elliott at 19. When you're able to go out there and play 2 players at that age in an away match, not in the FA Cup, not in the Carabao Cup, but in the Premier League, and for them to ball out as well, I think Klopp and the players deserve a nice round of applause from the fans, because they control the game. I mean, of course, there's going to be glimpses where they cough up possession, maybe should have released the pass quicker and earlier, but will improve gradually over time. I thought they went out there, they performed well, and yeah, they're both a solid option for Liverpool going forward in that midfield. We love to see players given the chance that early on. Not every team is gonna bring in a Thiago or a Fabinho. That's the model that seems to be working now. But in the future, you want these type of players to be your core players. And when you have James Milner playing with them, he's like the grandpa of the team, just bossing them and telling them what to do. I think that adds a lot of confidence to both of the players' game as well.
Well, Milner made his debut before Harvey Elliott, I think, was born. Like that's a crazy thought.
It's mad. It's mad.
He's been around the block for so long, and his career is older than Harvey Elliott, which is a bit of a crazy thought. In terms of the match, 2-1, get it done. And Joel Matip with kind of the awkward header. How much credit are you giving Matip versus I don't know who he was up against, versus the head he kind of skidded off of, it bounced off of? How much credit is Matip taking for that?
I think he takes maybe 50% because I'm not too sure he was intentionally trying to, head it up into that corner. He probably had a surprise. Oh, the ball's to me. I should just maybe, bend my head over and try to flick it across the defender into the goal. But yeah, I think at the end, it's a goal. And Joel Matip, he does things that are very peculiar, you could say.
Yes.
The way that he plays football is different to many defenders. He passes the ball differently. He runs differently. He goes into this midfield strolls once in a while. So, hey, he probably scores a Joel Matip-esque goal, and he deserves to get the winner in that game.
It's amazing. You think about things like Martin Skirtle, Daniel Agger, dependable guys, but you don't want to see them foraying into the midfield of the ball. Versus when Joel does it, I'm off my seat. I'm like, all right, let's go.
It's silky. It's so
gazelle.
silky.
He's a gazelle, just the long legs. I'm a tall guy. I can relate to him with just the lankiness and the strides. So I thought that was a fascinating match, and the result is done. It's a tough match on the weekend against Wolves. We'll segue into that. But the biggest, I think, takeaway from the Southampton match was it put the pressure on City for their next match, and for the next match, I should say, which is on the weekend against, who are they playing? Aston Villa. I spaced that.
How can you forget that, Jack? Come on, Villa.
Villa. So we'll save that a little bit, but Liverpool versus Wolves. Your early takeaways, kind of what you're looking at in this match, to kind of watch out for.
I think it should be a straightforward home win. It's not the first time that we've played against Wolves on the final day. And hey, I don't want to say it's deja vu. I don't want to jinx it. Oh, it's happening again. But the last time Liverpool played Wolves on the final match day of a Premier League season was that 18-19 season. And we all know what happened at the end of that campaign. Sorry to ruin the mood for any believers out there. Jack, I can see you're just almost tearing up. But look, I just hope that Liverpool get the job done, and it's over to you, Villa, over to you, Stevie, Phil, and Danny Ings. Let's not forget 3 key components. I mean, okay, 2 key components and plus Danny Ings, but yeah, they're gonna be the ones who Liverpool fans will be cheering on come this weekend.
Yeah, I would love for a scenario in which the Wolves match is 2-0, 3-0. We're kicking around at the back, kind of just. Players are glancing over to the touchline. All right, what's the score of the Villa City match? I think after we drew with City, the 2-2 draw, I kind of accepted that after seeing 18-19, the parallels you mentioned, I accepted that the title's out of our hands, and I kind of almost checked that off because City are so good in that competition that they can just grind that out. We won the FA Cup. We're in the Champions League final. I'm happy with the season. It's not house money because I'm currently, when this is out, there will be a video up, comparisons of quadruple winning sides. No side has won the quadruple. The last team to win 4 trophies in a year from a top European league was Celtic in 1966-67. They won 5 trophies, actually.
My parents weren't even born back then. That's crazy.
That's so long ago. We've had 2 treble sides. We had United in 98-99, City with the domestic one in 18-19. That season we have already talked about a little bit. So if they were to win 4, it would be unbelievable, like genuinely unparalleled. And that would be the greatest English side in history. I think I'm comfortable saying that, is if they won four titles. I don't think it's gonna happen, Tom. I don't think Villa have it in them. I think just I was watching. I wasn't watching their Burnley match. I was watching the Everton match. I just think they're a bit too open. City, it means too much for them. And at the end of the day, right? People are saying, Gerrard can win it for his old side, and Coutinho and Ings could do the same thing. Aston Villa, for them, this match doesn't mean a ton. Like this is a end of season away from home against a team who's trying to win the title. I'll give my prediction, Todd. I think it's going to be the first negative prediction I've given on this show. I'm going to say City 4, Villa 1. I think it's not even going to be close. I know we skipped the Liverpool Wolves prediction, but I just don't think that it's. I think that match is so inconsequential, the Liverpool Wolves match, because City are just handling their business against Villa. I'm interested in your thoughts.
I think both the teams that Liverpool and City are playing, it's like the worst time. It's the best time to play them, and it's the worst time if you're an opposing fan. So if you're a City fan, who would you not want Liverpool to play? It's probably Wolves. They've been on free fall. They haven't won a game since early April. And meanwhile, for Liverpool, yes, it's got that Gerrard, Coutinho storyline. I'm dreaming, Jack. I think that there's a scenario where De Bruyne goes through on goal and Gerrard runs out and just grabs him and just pulls him down, something like that. But no, it's an impossible scenario, but I like to dream. But, Villa's not the team that Liverpool fans want City to play against. We'd rather have City play United on the last day, or Arsenal, who wants fourth place, or Tottenham as well, or even West Ham. West Ham got the job done, didn't they? They got not the full job done, because that would have been a win. But hey, Mahrez penalty got saved, and we live to fight another day.
So I'm going to say for the Liverpool match, I'm going to say 3-0. I think that it's...
Jack, let me stop you over there. Let me stop you right there. It's trivia time, Jack. It's trivia time. Because you mentioned this. You're going to do score predictions, and maybe I picked the wrong time to do it, but the last time Liverpool played against Wolves was at the end of the 18-19 season. Can you tell me the score for that game and the goal scorers or goal scorer?
Oh my God. Wow, my brain is just... See, I'm gonna sidebar this because I want to try and give my brain more time to think about it.
A few moments later.
Let's see, did Salah do it? This is an embarrassing one for me. And if you knew in the comments faster than I did, let me know and slander my knowledge. See, I'm biased because I'm looking right across from me. Here, you know what? Let me just grab it really quick. Hang on. So this is from when my dad and I visited, and this is Patricio, and Salah.
Yeah.
But this was 2018, like the winner. So was it Salah? Was it Mo? Or was it Mane? I'm between Salah and Mane. And of course it's going to be Firmino. I'm going to say Mane scored 1.
Mane scored 2. It was a 2-0 win for Liverpool.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, City demolished, I think.
Brighton?
Was it Brighton? Yeah, on the last day. So, yeah, it didn't matter. But back to your point again. Back to your predictions.
Yeah, so and thank you for taking the time to do the trivia, because that was actually... It was a very interesting contrast, Maybe history repeats itself. Maybe it, is the inverse of itself. I was saying Liverpool 3, Wolves no. I think it's just probably similar to that match. My knowledge of that match is clearly very weak, but where it's a no nonsense, and our eyes are turned elsewhere. I'm gonna say Mane gets 2 again, and Diaz gets 1. That's how I see it. What's your prediction for the Wolves Liverpool match, Tal?
I think it's going to be quite a rotated side, actually. It won't be as rotated as Southampton, but I think Klopp will, at this point, put all the eggs into the Champions League basket, because that's the only competition left that we control our destiny in. So I think I'm going to go with 1 goal for Firmino. I think he'll score early on, because I think he'll start. and then second half, maybe a Luis Diaz comes off the bench and then taps one in or something like that. But yeah, it'd be a 2-0 win for Liverpool.
I said 4-1 City demolish Villa, and it's not a. It's like 60 minutes gone. Liverpool are cruising against Wolves, and City are cruising against Villa, and we're just like, oh, this is kind of sad. We have to kind of just play out the rest of the season. Does Gerrard do it for Utah?
He does, Jack. He does. Gerrard will do it. Watch Coutinho bend one in the 95th minute of the match to break City hearts and make Pep lose all his hair that he's have left, or if none, then just lose his head, I guess. But look, I think Coutinho has it, and I'm a dreamer. I think it's only 0.05% at this point that there's a chance for Villa to do it, but I'm a dreamer. I think it's going to be 1-1. I think De Bruyne is going to score early, and City are just going to pass around, maybe try to kill time. They're going to get a bit nervous in the end. And Coutinho just bends one in, cuts inside, and then curls one into the top corner. And Gerrard runs onto the pitch, and Villa fans celebrate for Liverpool.
It's like I don't. I know. And in my dream, I'm like, what does Gerrard do, right? Because he's the manager of Aston Villa. Of course, I mean everyone knows that's it. No, it's not even a secret. He's Liverpool.
If Liverpool win the league, your club better send one of the medals to Gerrard. I'm just saying. He
has to. I mean, obviously that'd have to be the reason. But what does Gerrard do? Does he? He goes and shakes Guardiola's hand. Does he start celebrating like crazy? Like, obviously it depends on the match itself. Yeah, but like, he does. What is he doing if he knows he just won his boyhood club and the title? I'm obviously the priorities are win title, see Gerrard's reaction, but I would love to see how Gerrard, Coutinho, and Ings all handle that, because and especially with Connor Cody at center back for Wolves, former Liverpool fan. Was he in the academy? I forget if he was in the academy or not. But he's very associated with the club. There's a lot of.
I should have predicted a Cody own goal then. Maybe as one of the goal scorers.
People would be fuming if that had an impact. But it's gonna be a fascinating one. So I don't think Fabinho, Van Dijk, or Salah should play. So the last question I have for you: you mentioned your boy Heung-min Son. He's a goal behind Salah. Does he overtake him or tie him in the Golden Boot race? I'm blanking on who they play in the last match. They played
Norwich in the last game.
Ooh, they have a leaky defense. Is Son a joint top goal scorer, lone top goal scorer? Who is the Golden Boot winner after Sunday's matches?
If Salah doesn't play, or if Salah doesn't start, I think Son will win it. I think this season overall, Salah has had higher peaks, but at the same time, he's had moments where it's just gone straight down, and he's just been missing games, missing opportunities in front of goal, missing chances constantly that Son's not really had. Son has contributed in some ways that you might not see in the headlines for scoring a hat trick or scoring 5-6 games in a row, but he's always been a key component to what Spurs are doing and helping Harry Kane, helping Kulusevski. So I think throughout the campaign, Son's been more consistent. I think Son will score at least 2 against Norwich, who have nothing left to play for this season.
Very interesting. That'd be a fascinating one. Todd has a much more optimistic view of the Premier League race than I do. I would love for it. I would love nothing more than to be wrong. I would just love it, but I don't know. I can't shake that feeling that City are just going to get it done. But that is what it is. Maybe it's 3 trophies. Maybe it's 2 trophies. It's going to be a great season regardless. We will be back next week to discuss the Champions League final. We are, at the time of recording, a week and a few days out. It is unbelievably close. And I'm very excited for that final. So we will have more on that, a lot of analysis, live watch-alongs. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. We also post these as podcasts. We do a lot of great podcasts. So check us out on Spotify as well. LFC Transfer Room there. Well, I've been Jack. That's been Ta. It's the start of the virtual Scousers abroad. We're still abroad. We're still Scousers, American, Thai. We're going to be bringing these as often as we can. Until next time, I've been Jack. It's been Ta. For the LFC Transfer Room, take care.